In this video, I'll show you how to create a useful and accessible feedback form with WordPress and the Contact Form 7 plugin. I'll show you how to install the plugin, and then we'll cover 2 example forms that you can embed in a contact page or in a blog sidebar as a widget. Once again, I've started with a fresh install of WordPress, and let me show you this sample site that I've got built here. It's just some placeholder content on a home page, and here's just a sample about page and a few placeholder blog posts. And on this contact page, I'd like to have a good general purpose feedback form. So I've placed a sentence here about the user filling in the form to send feedback. And let me show you on the back end. So I'll go into plugins, and I'm going to install a plugin called Contact Form 7. I'll click Install Now, and after that it has installed, I'll activate it. And now we have this contact menu on the left. So let me go in and show you what we get. We get this sample form, and if I click on that, we can see it's a pretty basic form with a name field, an email field, subject, your message, and send. But I'd like to start with a new form. So I'll empty that out. I'm also going to change the name here to simplify it. And click Save. So now let me start building my form. First thing I'd like to do is add the response. This is what happens when the user fills out the form, and if there's an error, then it will add that there. And I'd like to include just a simple text entry box. So I'm going to do the name will be form name, and I'm going to repeat that for the ID attribute. Let's make it a required field. And I'm going to click Insert Tag. So I'm going to build a label. I'm going to make it accessible by giving it a for attribute. And name, I'm going to put required and label. This for attribute goes with this ID. And then let's create another one. I'll do an email this time. So this will be a required field. Form email. I'll copy that, add it to the ID attribute, insert tag, and I'm going to grab this label and paste that here. Email. And this will be email as well. And then let's add a submit button. Let's see, actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put send now. Okay, so we may add some more fields here to our form, but let's go ahead and save this. I've got an error here under the mail tab, but we'll come back to that. So I'm going to grab this shortcode and copy that and go over to my contact page. And I've given myself a comment. That's where I'll add that form. So I'll paste that shortcode. So it's got Contact Form 7. It's got the form ID, which it created. And then title, this is the title that was added at the top. So I'll click Update. Let's come over here on the front end. I'll do refresh. And now we get a basic form. So we have this label, and if I click on it, it'll focus the field. Got this email, and if I leave them both blank and click Send Now, we should get the response. There we go. So that's our general error message, and then we also get these field-specific errors here. So I'll refresh to make those go away. So I think I want to add a phone number here, and then let's add a checkbox with a message to allow them to sign up for the newsletter. So we'll go back to contact, go into the form, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this label. And the phone we're not going to make required, so I'll leave that off. I'll make this for attribute be phone. And we've got this tel for telephone, so I'll do form phone, copy that, and paste it for the ID. And you can see here that it builds it out as we add these attributes up here. And I'll click insert. And that's good. Let's add the checkbox as well. So we'll do checkbox, and I'll give it an ID of form newsletter. I'll copy that, make it the ID. And I'd also like to wrap each item with label element. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. And I'd like to have the message be sign me up for your newsletter. Okay. Click insert tag. And let me show you what that'll look like. So I'll click save. Now I don't need to grab this shortcode. I've already got that in the page. So actually we don't need to look at the page in the admin. Let's just go right over and see how it looks. So we've got name, we've got email and phone. And let me go ahead and put some letters in here and click this send now and show you that it will validate that it's a proper telephone. Now it could be a short one like this. It'll accept that. Or it could be a longer one if you include the area code. It'll accept that. For a good generic feedback form, we probably should give them the ability to add an actual message, right? So let's grab that. We'll create a new label. We'll say message, form message, and I'll copy that to the clipboard. And this time we've done text, email, tel for telephone. Now we're going to do text area. So I've copied that name to the clipboard. We'll put that in the name and ID attribute fields. And I'll click insert. There we go. So form message matches the ID. Now you've noticed that I've used the same name as the ID. That's okay. These could be different, but I've just for simplicity made them the same. So we'll save our form and click refresh on the front end. If we go back in and add an X6, that'll give us 6 rows. And refresh. There we go. That's a little bit shorter. So now we have name, email, phone, message, and then a checkbox for signing up for the newsletter. Now let's go into this mail tab and see if we can get rid of that configuration error. So it says we have one configuration error, and I'll scroll down. The highlighted one is additional headers. Yeah, and I can see that actually for your subject and your email, those aren't the field names that I used. So I think I did form for each one of these. Form, email, there we go. That fixed the error. Form name, form email. We didn't use a subject, so I'm just going to hard code that. I'm not sure that people are used to putting in the subject of a contact form anyway. Whoops, let's see. I'll replace this here. And also, I see that our available fields from the form are up here, and we haven't used all of them. So we've used form name, form email, but we've got form phone, form message, and form newsletter. So we could use those in this message body. So we've got the name, we've got the email, we've got the message. and I'll add phone, form phone. So that'll add the phone number if they added it in. It's optional. And then we don't need a label for this one. Form newsletter. And the reason we don't need a label is that the way that I wrote the message, let's go back and take a look at the form. Sign me up for your newsletter. That'll just appear in the email if they've chosen that. We can go back here and take a look. I think I got everything. Okay, I'll click save, and I see that my error message has gone away. And we can come back over to here. I'll click refresh. Let's go ahead and test this out. johnsmith@company.com. Whoops. And a fake phone number. This is a message. And I'll go ahead and click sign me up for your newsletter. I'll click send now. And there's our success. And I'll look at my development email and see if I've received an email. There's one email. So this is our subject. And if I scroll down a little bit, there's our name that we put in, John Smith. And then here's the email. Here's the hard-coded subject that I put, but it also appears here in the headers. Here's the fake phone number, and looks like we got the message wrong. Oh, it says your. Okay, so we'll go back and fix that. And then here's the sign me up for your newsletter. The second test that I do, I'll not check that box. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll go back over to our form. Oh, it's highlighted that I haven't used form message. So let's get rid of this one. So instead of typing it, I think I can just click. Nope, I think I do need to type that in. Form message. Okay, click save. All right, there we go. So it's no longer highlighted. And we'll come back over to our form, hit refresh. And I'll use the same values. This is another message. Now, I won't click that, and I'll show you what that does. I'll come back over here to my development email. So here's the most recent one. There we go. So there's the message body. And you see there's no newsletter sign up. It just doesn't include the message. Let's go back over to the contact form and let me show you an additional tab. So we've got this messages tab. This is where all of your success or error messages reside. So thank you for your message. It has been sent. You may have seen that one as I did the success message. You could change this to anything else. We'll respond to you as soon as possible. And here's if the message failed. Here's some validation errors. We could put this field is required or this field is too long, etc. So we could fill out all of these and click save. Now, when we submit the form, we'll get our updated messages. One other useful thing we can do with the Contact Form 7 plugin is to create a widget that we could use in the sidebar of our blog. So I'll click Add New, and I'll call this one Contact Widget. And instead of the default form, I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I'll go back to our regular form, and I'll copy that one. Go back into our new one and paste this. Now we're not going to need all of this. So let's see, name, email, we don't need phone, we don't need the message area, and it's assumed that that they're opting in. So instead of send now, I'll do sign me up. So I'll need to change this your subject. Actually, what I'll do there is I'll say sandbox contact widget. And I'll change this to form. And by the way, you can just leave these to your email, your subject, etc., and just leave those as default in your form. So I'll grab this for the subject, and actually, I don't think we'll need that either. Pretty simple email. So I'll click Save, and I'll grab this short code, and then I'll go over to Widgets. Here's my main sidebar for the blog. So I'll grab this text block, text widget, and I'll go to the text tab and paste my short code, and then I'll do newsletter here. And I'll click Save. Come back over to my form. Actually, I'll go to the blog. And now we've got this newsletter sign up widget. So I can sign John Smith up. Now this would be just a manual sign up, but it'll work just like the regular form. So you get the success message. Then on the email, you'll just have to compile the emails, but you could use some kind of other service like MailChimp, but this will give you a very simplified newsletter sign up widget that you could use in your sidebar.